Okay, I'm going to, okay, guys, I'm just seeing if we're going live. I think we're live. I think we're in. Okay, I'm going to switch screens so that way we can just see this one because I don't think we'll see comments. Okay. Hello, everyone. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend. I've certainly missed you guys since the blog biz challenge. It feels like we're, hanging out every day for 4 days. It was so much fun. And I have been spending some incredible time with my mastermind students, including Melanie. I'll introduce her in a quick second, this weekend. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm starting to shift back into the mode of things, getting out of my blog boss mastermind hat. And I wanted to come back and chat with you guys because I did promise on our Friday bonus call that I had 3 of my students who would be here that you could pick their brains. And I really built up Melanie, the kidney dietitian. And then we got on live and
was stuck in San Francisco for a very long time.
so long. But what did you do in San Francisco?
Oh, guys, if you're ever stuck in the San Francisco airport, you should know that there are 2, I'm pretty sure, yoga rooms. They're lovely. And I was a very unhappy camper because I was stuck in San Francisco for what ended up being about 8 hours. But there's a yoga room and that really helps you calm your nerves. And it was cute. So I would recommend yoga in San Francisco.
Yes. I actually love the San Francisco airport because they have yoga room, they have sushi, they have pinkberry yogurt, which I love their tart yogurt. So of all the airports to get stuck in.
I also got to Medford, where we are now, where Katie lives, at 4:30 a.m. my body time. So I was unhappy, but I'm here and I had a lovely weekend and it was worth it.
And so pretty much Melanie's here, a couple other of the amazing women from the Blog Boss Mastermind are here, but we got a little bit before you guys got on the airplane. So I'm like, Melanie, can you come speak to our challengers and tell them more about what it is you do and how you help people? So I'm going to give you a quick intro and then I'm going to ask if you can maybe like elaborate on your introduction. Then I'm going to pick you a little bit about your business, what you do, and then kind of your journey of how you got to where you are.
Okay.
So Melanie is amazing. I met Melanie years ago because we both have volunteer problems. We volunteer too much. And we met at the Healthy Aging Dietetic Practice Group. So Melanie is a former geriatric dietitian.
Yeah. I've shifted gears a bit, but yes.
Yeah. So we volunteered on this board together for many years, but that is where we met. And Melanie has,
I just had a flashback to our very first, both of our first Facebook Lives, right?
Oh,
the hand slap. So if you could like search that and like repost it,
I should,
to show how much we've grown. Like we are way more mature and natural in camera. You guys should see this.
You guys have heard me say all the time, done is better than perfect. So when I was I think chair of Healthy Aging Dietetic Practice Group, or maybe I was some role, and we were at our like meetings that we did like 2 big ones a year. And so we were going to do these live streams into Facebook,
which is like a big deal because this was 10 years ago. So like no one did this.
Yeah. So we're doing this live stream and Melanie was the only one who was like, I'll do it with you. So I'm doing this live stream. We're talking, we're trying to, like, and at the very end, when I say bye to everyone, I slapped her hand. And it was like so awkward.
And we're just like, oh.
And then when the video ends, I think we died laughing, like the whole group for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry. Side note.
You guys are gonna hear about this story. But so anyways, I met Melanie a long time ago. She has actually been there with me through every step of the way. When I met her, I was just like a side hustler who didn't even identify as being an entrepreneur. She was there when I remember I told everyone actually at one of our Healthy Aging meetings, I'm like, I started a blog last week. And I'm like, what's that mean? And so Melanie has been there every step of the way. She is an amazing rock star. So what she does now is she runs a blog called The Kidney Dietitian, and she helps clients with kidney stones, and she does so many amazing things. I'll let her share more about it, but she lives in Chicago. She is the mom of twins, and she is just an amazing human who is on a mission to help people and has really utilized her blog business to help the masses, but then also to create freedom in her lifestyle to like live probably a life you probably never imagined. I feel like we have very similar stories. Like we had no idea.
This was not my plan at all.
But
so much better.
So much better. So I guess thank you for coming to speak to everyone. Could you introduce maybe a little bit more about yourself, like kind of a little bit like what it is you do, how you help people?
Yeah, so I'll maybe start with how the kidney dietitian was born. So, way back in 2020, I was working at the University of Chicago in the section of nephrology. And it was sort of your typical clinical dietitian. It was all outpatient, CKD, and also kidney stones in the stone clinic, and also research. And I was just like many dietitians probably just like really annoyed with the really terrible advice people were reading online about whatever it was they should be eating. I feel like I'm biased obviously, but I feel like kidney nutrition is especially bad because people are like, oh my gosh, I can't ever eat tomatoes and bananas and avocados. And like that's absolutely false. But I was just like annoyed and honestly like sad and heartbroken that people just were following harmful advice, doing this stuff online. So I embarrassingly just discovered Instagram approximately 2020. But I was like, oh, Instagram, that's fun. And then I was like, oh, there's all these dietitians doing stuff. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I could do that. So I just started posting stuff and I was like, oh, I should have a website. Okay. And so I started a website on Wix, and Katie adorably and the nicest KOA possible was like, Melanie, like, maybe you should like learn about SEO. Like maybe Wix isn't the best option. I was like, okay, sure. So then I like learned about SEO. But basically, all of this I was doing because I honestly felt sort of this ethical pull to put quality science-based nutrition information into the world. Because again, I was just like, people were reading such terrible, harmful stuff. So I was like, okay, like I can do this. So the kidney dietitian was born. And it started out just as a blog, as my side hustle, right? Like I had no intention of leaving my job. I loved my job. I loved being in academic medicine. I still miss pieces of it. And I'm figuring out ways to incorporate it into my life still. But it was just kind of this side thing, and it just grew and grew and grew. I learned about courses, and I started a course for patients called Kidney Stone Nutrition School. I had ebooks. That was my very first product, and I remember it's still a $20 product. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid to ask people to pay me $20 to buy something, and here I am today. But so it just kind of grew and grew and grew, so much so that I had twins about 2 years ago. And during my 6-month maternity leave, the kidney dietitian passively brought in basically my salary for the whole year at the University of Chicago. So I was like, well, at the end of maternity leave, I was like, kind of makes no sense to go back to work in this chapter of life. Yeah. So I did not go back to work. And now I am just the kidney dietitian. That is my full-time job. And it is unbelievably amazing, like especially in this chapter of life as a mom of twin 2-year-olds. It's kind of nutty, as you might imagine. And so like the flexibility and the income that it's brought in, like it's certainly much more than I would have ever been able to make as a clinical dietitian, is just amazing. Like it's honestly, but my husband and I actually were just like kind of having a heart with our finances last week, and we're looking at the cost of daycare, and he's like, like if you were still in Chicago, we wouldn't be in Chicago. Like we wouldn't be able to afford to live where we love to live. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over the place, but
no, it's amazing. So I think one thing I'd love if you could share with people more about like what are the ways that you make money through the kidney dietitian, like break down the different like streams of income you have.
Yeah. So a pretty big chunk, probably like 40-ish% these days is Mediavine, which I'm sure you've heard about if you're in Katie's world. So yes, so Mediavine. So that's a big chunk. I also do my courses is a big thing. So I have my patient-facing course, Kidney Stone Nutrition School, and I also have a dietitian training program for kidney stone nutrition called Dishing Up Prevention. Thank you, ChatGPT, for that name. So that and like those cookbooks, and like I have some diet guides and like sell stuff on RD or so well-resourced RD. So like, all of those types of things. So that probably is like another 30-ish%. Okay. And the rest of it is like random stuff. I do a pretty large amount of public speaking for DPGs and other professional organizations. So that brings in a little bit of money. I wish it was more, but I love it. So I do it. And what else? How else?
Amazon affiliates?
Oh, Amazon affiliates. Yeah, that's like maybe $100 a month or so. And affiliates for other dietitian programs that I love, since I have kidney stones is really my niche, but I also have a fair amount of information about CKD, which maybe one day I'll create stuff, but I don't have that now. So I have other amazing kidney dietitian friends, and I promote their stuff. And also some brand work. I have just recently started dabbling with brand contracts and have a bit of income from that. So those are kind of the big ways to find.
Yeah. In this challenge, we were talking about like now money and later money. So we were talking about the ways that we trade time for money to make money and then passive income. So through your blog, you make passive income through ad revenue, Amazon affiliates, selling cookbooks, affiliates where you recommend other stuff that amazing dietitians have made, and then also your course. And Melanie has 2 levels of her course. One is just like you join and it's just,
Get the course.
Then she has a VIP where you get access to group calls. Yes. So it's kind of like a hybrid, right? It's like the course piece is passive, but then the group part, it takes like an hour a month. So obviously we're not talking tons of time, but provides massive value. Yeah, massive value. And then she does, where she's trading time for money, she is doing some work with brands now. She's got some really cool gigs that she's already secured. She is doing speaking gigs. And if you guys couldn't tell her heart, she is so passionate about, increasing this conversation about stones and how we could help the masses not feel like I can't eat the foods I love with all this false information. So she gets to do that. She gets to train other healthcare professionals. She gets to reach the public and do what she loves while managing life as a mom of twins in Chicago. So I think that's amazing how, you make the now money and the later money, but can you tell people more about something new that you started offering? Because I think this is so cool. They all know that I do not want to work with clients one-on-one. That's never been my jam. And we kind of connect in that. Both of us are like, I don't want to work with clients, but Melanie has figured out how to serve clients one-on-one without her doing it. So maybe you can tell people more about this.
Yeah, this is exciting because this is something that was on that I've wanted to do for years. And I finally, during the last Blog Boss Mastermind meeting, had the courage to actually go out and do it. So that was in February, right, of this year. Katie convinced me to do it, basically. And here I am in September. And 2 months ago, this offer went live. So because people obviously want to work with me one-to-one, because that's kind of what people are used to. I try to convince them to go into the course, but not everyone wants that, and I understand. But I don't want to see patients. I don't have time to see patients, right? Like I'm running a pretty large business now. I don't have time, and honestly was getting pretty burnt out with that at the University of Chicago and don't really want to go back to that. So especially since there's literally nowhere to send people for kidney stone nutrition, like I imagine many of you are dietitians listening right now, and like we don't know about kidney stone nutrition, right? It's so specialized. It was like, well, I'm going to build a hub where there are kidney stone dietitians for people to go to. Like I can do this with my platform. And so I have hired 3 dietitians to see patients as consultants for the kidney dietitian. So I'm like so excited because this is such a needed thing. It's going to be so helpful, and it's helping me bring in more income so I can have a greater impact and be able to reach more people. It's freeing up my time. I'm offering that service, but I'm not spending my time in it because I'm still able then to grow my following, do public speaking, and do all the things that I love. So the kidney dietitian seeing patients, but I'm not doing.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things is that she is providing value to her audience, but not doing something that she doesn't love to do. We talked about this in the challenge. You have the opportunity to build a business entirely based on what you love to do. And I think traditionally we think I have to work with clients to be an entrepreneur, but you can.
Do not have to.
But you don't have to. And I think another thing that I think is really cool about this, Melanie, is that you are giving other dietitians the opportunity to make money and do what they're passionate about. Because not everyone wants to be the business owner. Not everyone wants to take on the risk, the responsibility, all of the moving parts. And so for some people, like, what a blessing. I can work from home and do all these things and make money and impact. And so I think it's cool that you are helping the masses, you're helping our field, and also, creating a lifestyle for you and your family where you get to live in the city and drink your fancy wines and live your best life.
Whale watching tours. All the things falling off. Chicago wine and whales pretty much sums up. It's pretty cool. Like when you think about the impact, I often give the stat. I haven't looked at the numbers in a while, so I should update it. But generally I touch around 10,000 people every single day, between someone who might get an email from me, who sees a blog post or sees a social media post. Like that's nuts. Like 20,000 people. And I had a lot of initially, like when I fully transitioned in the kidney dietitian and wasn't working one-to-one with patients at the university, I had a little bit of like, oh, like, am I really helping people? But then I realized, yeah, you're actually helping people in a, I'm not going to say better way, a much different way, and enabling other dietitians to do that one-to-one work that I just don't want to do anymore, right? Like I'm touching 10,000 people every single day. Like that's huge. Um, so yeah, so I am helping people.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah, it's bananas when you think about it. And I think still, you're still a baby business. Like you're going to continue to grow and help more people because we talked about this in the challenge on how online business, that's like infinite impact and income. It's pretty darn bananas that we get to do this. So, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something else, Melanie. I don't even remember what it was, but it will come back to me in a minute. You know, one thing I would love for you to share, because I know a lot of people in this challenge, they built out the bones of their business. They got clarity. Well, first off, we talked about mindset, you know me, mindset. So we spent a whole day diving into mindset. Like, let's get this right first before we try anything else. Then people clarify their niche, who they would serve, the name of their blog, so that way they know what they're going to do. And then we talked about ways to make money now and later. So now people are like primed of, okay, I've got the bones of my blog business. Now they need to get the work to make it a reality.
Mhm.
So for anyone who's on the fence and they're like, I want to do this now, but I'm just not sure. Like, what advice would you have
Just
for people?
do it. Just do it. Like, do not waste time stressing. Like all the things Katie just said are obviously important. You need to know what you're talking about. You need to have a brand name, right? But like these things can change.
Yes.
You do not need to spend a year or months like, you know, stressing over the details. Like those things will change. Like those things are gonna change. In fact, like sure you could, you know, plan everything out, but it's gonna change. It's gonna be a waste of time.
Yes.
Like when I first started out, I actually had three things that I specialized in: polycystic kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, and kidney stones. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have these three audiences. Which is still even pretty niche. Like that kidney nutrition in general is still pretty niche, but I found that I was most passionate about stones and there was the greatest need for stones because literally no one else was doing it. So I've sort of fallen into that. And so it just like a business is a constantly evolving thing, I guess is my point. Like
Yeah.
it's, you're always going to need to twist and pivot, which is kind of scary, but also kind of exciting because there's literally endless possibilities of things that you could do, people you could help. Yeah, so just do it. Just do it. Just get started. Like, do not waste time. You can always change things. Nothing is ever going to be perfect because what does perfect even mean? Like, just do it. Why not? People need your help.
Just do it. I love that. I love that message. I remember what my brain went blank on what I wanted to say. I wanted to say is that I think one cool thing that you've been sharing with everyone is all these different streams of income you have, all these different things you do. But keep in mind, this didn't happen overnight. She built these things up over time. And that again is the wonderful thing of a blog business. It's this online platform where we can make money through multiple streams of income, help people in multiple ways. And even as you just said, it evolves over time. We don't always know, like, of course, we can't know everything, but you just got to get started and it's going to change. And you get this opportunity to just build something amazing. And, you know, we're about to wrap up, but I'd love if you could tell people a little bit about the time frame, because I often tell people the time to start is now because blogging is a long-term game. You're not going to push publish on a blog and all of a sudden be like, passive income rolling in the
Unfortunately, no.
It takes time and intention, but it is so worth it. So I'm wondering maybe if you could share kind of like the time frame of how long it took from you starting to where you actually felt like, whoa, okay, yeah, this is because I know you left your job, like
Yeah.
like how all these things happened.
So my website went live in April 2020. It was actually a COVID project. That was a silver lining of COVID for me. I had time to do this. So April 2020. And then I got on Mediavine, I believe in like October-ish of 2021. So a year and a half or so, 14 months, I think actually that number is good. So I think it was 14 months later that I hit Mediavine. So that was awesome because I think when I was on Mediavine, I was probably making $2,500 a month or so. We'll say 2,000, like from Mediavine. But I had figured out a way to monetize even before that with my cookbook, with that $20 cookbook. So I was already starting to make money as my audience was building to that 50,000 amount where I could apply for Mediavine through those cookbook and affiliate sales. Like, and so I don't remember the numbers, but I think that year too, I think in 2021, I brought in about $10,000 So basically pre-media buying from all those extra things, which was so crazy because like literally my goal was never to make money.
I know.
Like I was like, maybe I'll make $100. Like this is just fun. Like I just like doing this. And then I discovered like, oh, like you can make money doing these things. Cool. So so I hit Mediavine about 14 months later. And then, I mean, it just kind of kept growing. I had my course and my RD course and more cookbooks and e-goods. And it just kind of kept going. Where to the point in, oh gosh, I'm not going to remember the numbers, but in but in last year, so in 2023, I brought in approximately $150,000 from the Canadian industry. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. Yeah.
So pretty much it takes time, but it is so worth it. And Melanie did this. She built out the bones of everything while she was still working a full-time job and volunteering too much like myself. And so
Continues.
well, I don't think mine's gotten worse. I think mine's gotten better, but
Yeah, got worse.
but when we're passionate, that's okay. But I hope that this has been inspiring for people to see like as an example of someone else who this is like the journey they went on and the opportunities that opened and how you could help people and make money, because you're so right. It's like we go in with like, I just want to help people. And it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive where you either help people or make money. You can do both. And so I really appreciate you sharing everything with us. And I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's on here. I know that you guys are all like so motivated and so primed to take the next steps. Last Thursday on our call, I did open up my schedule with 10 spots for us to hop on calls for people who are like, are you ready to start now? So if you're watching this and you're feeling motivated and you're like, yeah, I want to start now, I'm going to open up a few more spots in my schedule. It'll take me a minute, but I will drop the link below. This is my direct scheduling link. You don't have to apply for anything. So if you are like, I am ready to rock and roll, I understand this is going to take me time. So the sooner I start, the sooner I'm going to get to this point where I'm like, who knew this is possible? So if this is you, go ahead and comment now below. Comment now, and I will make sure I get you that link. I will drop it below and we're done. But
I was just gonna say, also, if you've never had just like a call with Katie, just like as a human, like you're missing out because Katie, there's other dietitians in the room that are nodding at that comment. Because like it's not like Katie's gonna be like, you have to buy my stuff. Like it's like just Katie is such an inspiring person. Like just to have the opportunity to kind of pick her brain and like just meet her is great in itself. So like get on that call. Just schedule it. It's worth it.
And I will say, you will leave with massive clarity in what you want to do next, whether or not it's continuing with any of my programs or not. I think they've gotten to know me a little bit over. We spent 4 days together, and I think they've gotten to know me a little bit. So, but I really want to encourage you, if you want to go ahead and comment now below. And I'm just going to check real quick. I'm not at home, you guys, so I don't have my awesome screen. Oh, there's people online. Okay, so let's see.
Oh.
Becky's online. Jay from Chicago. Rosalind. Nowadays, are people using AI to write blogs, or is this a no-no? Okay, we can address this question real quick. So I'll just kind of share a few things, and I don't know if you have any thoughts you want to share. But to me, AI is a lovely tool. It is a lovely tool that we could use like other tools out there. Now, is it exclusive? Are AIs writing all of my blog articles? Absolutely not. But it can help with so many different things. It could help with ideas if you're stuck. Really good title names if you're stuck. It could help with outlines. It could help with bits and pieces of content. But I really see AI as a complement and a tool that we can use, and not something that's going to replace us. And I think anyone who uses AI understands, like, no, that's not going to replace us. I actually, I was curious and I asked AI to write me a blog article about high fiber drinks. And it listed drinks with no fiber. I mean, they were like gut healthy, kombucha, different things like that. But I'm like,
fiber.
We're not a dietitian, AI. So do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I honestly don't use AI as much as I probably should. But when I do, it's to speed up the process, and it's super helpful, right? So like, for example, I have a post about low sodium cornbread, and I wanted to put in the blog content like toppings for cornbread. And like, sure, I could have sat there for 10 minutes and try to come up with stuff, but instead I went to AI and I said toppings for low sodium cornbread. And they gave me a whole bunch of options. Some of them were very high sodium, so I had to like not use those, but it just helped me like kind of like with that piece of it, right? So it's not like I said, hey, ChatGPT, like write a post for low sodium cornbread. It was like these little pieces that just helped speed up the writing process and save a lot of time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get a little fearful of like change, new things. It's going to replace us. And I forget exactly who said it. It might have been my coach's brother, but what they said is that AI isn't going to replace people. People who utilize and leverage AI are going to replace people who don't. So it's more about this is a tool we can use to help us. And so I'm a big fan of AI, but I don't think it's like, it's not everything. So, okay, let's see. Okay, I don't see any questions. So if you guys do have any questions for me, go ahead and put them below. I will get back to you guys. But Melanie, where can people find you online? If they're like, I want to follow this amazing human.
Yes, I'd love to meet you. So you can find me on Instagram at the Kidney Dietitian. My blog is thekidneydietitian.org, and I also have a podcast, which is the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast. If you're at all interested in really learning all about kidney stone nutrition, you can find me there.
Well, thanks for coming to share our challengers. I appreciate that you're able to like get this in before you fly back home.
Fingers crossed for this layover. I have a 45-minute layover in Denver on the way home. It'll be fine.
So I live in Southern Oregon. So to get to me, they all had to take 2 flights to get here, which was so nice of them. But I will say every time I travel, I take a connection flight, and I travel multiple times a year, and I never miss my connection. So when this happened I think this was your second time ever having a connection.
I live in Chicago. I'm very spoiled. I never have layovers, and I was so nervous, rightfully so.
All the time, I never miss connections.
Nothing.
But going home, you will be totally fine. It'll be great.
There's 5 more flights to Chicago that day, so I can make it.
Yeah, getting to Denver, not a lot of people come here, but
It's beautiful. And good wine.
And we had fun. We had a fun weekend. Holy cow. Okay, well, thank you, Melanie. Thank you, everyone. And I'm just gonna end things.